Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing amazing today. In this video, we're diving into the latest updates about Ripa and Mark Consuelos. You don't want to miss this. So make sure to stay tuned till the end, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. No one saw it coming, not the entertainment journalists, not the industry insiders, and certainly not the fans who had watched Ripa and Mark Consuelos maintain one of television's most enduring marriages for decades. When the shocking announcement dropped, Ripa and Mark Consuelos filing for divorce, the world's media froze for a moment, unable to process what felt unthinkable. They had been the couple everyone pointed to as proof that Hollywood relationships could last. They had built careers side by side, raised children together, and showed up every morning on television with effortless chemistry. The news was painful enough, but what truly stunned the world was Mark Consuelos' first move in the days that followed. A decision no one, not even Kelly, had seen coming. The final show. The last week on their talk show was surreal. They continued working professionally, delivering their usual blend of charm, teasing banter, and warm exchanges, but even casual viewers sensed a strange energy simmering beneath the surface. Kelly, ever poised, kept her smile steady, but Mark's eyes were distant, quietly processing something deeper. On their final day together, Mark ended the broadcast with unexpected words, not addressing the audience, but Kelly. "No matter what comes next," he said gently, "you have been the greatest chapter of my life." Kelly blinked, taken aback. The audience, silent, confused, felt that the room had shifted, but no one knew how much until the following morning, when the official divorce announcement hit every news alert across the world. Headlines erupt. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Hollywood's golden couple split. Ripa Consuelos divorce shocks daytime TV fans. What really went wrong? Paparazzi camped outside their New York townhouse. Journalists begged for quotes. Fans flooded social media with heartbreak and theories. Kelly issued a brief statement through her publicist asking for privacy. Mark, however, went silent, and that silence became the new obsession of the press. What was he doing? Why hadn't he spoken? Why had he disappeared? The answer came that weekend, and it shook the entertainment world to its core. The Vanishing Act. On Saturday morning, reporters discovered Mark had left the country. Not for a promotional trip, not for filming, not even on a private jet. He had boarded a regular commercial flight to Mexico, alone, carrying only a backpack and a folded passport. No entourage, no assistance, no security detail. It was as if he was leaving every piece of his old world behind. At first, speculation ran wild. Newspapers insisted he was taking time to heal. Some claimed he needed space from the industry. Others whispered that a scandal was coming. But the truth was more complicated and much more astonishing. A remote village and a new purpose. For 2 days, sleuthing reporters failed to track him. Then a small freelance journalist in Mexico uncovered a photograph that the entire world would see. Mark Consuelos not staying in a luxury villa, not sipping wine on a beach, but building a wall for a rural community center in a small town 3 hours outside Oaxaca. No cameras were present. No publicity team had arranged this. The image looked almost like a stolen moment, sunset behind him, shirt covered in dust, helping a group of local volunteers install a new roof. The entertainment world blinked in disbelief. Was this a new role? A charity shoot? A reality special? No, Mark was just there. Helping. His decision. Within 24 hours, a second exclusive dropped. A statement from the organization's director who had spoken briefly with him. Mark told us he came to figure out who he was without fame, she explained. He doesn't want to be on camera. He wants to work with his hands and be useful. Fans were stunned. Critics were confused. Talk shows debated his mental state and motives. But Mark still refused to make a statement. He stopped using social media. He turned down interview requests. He didn't return to his hotel in the evenings. He slept on a cot at the construction site. It was as if the divorce had not just ended a marriage, it had sparked a personal reckoning. Kelly reacts. While the world watched Mark vanish into his new life, Ripa had to continue hers in the glaring spotlight of daytime television. For the first time in years, she sat in her talk show chair without Mark by her side. Fans noticed the slight tremor in her voice, the way she took a steadying breath before the cameras rolled. She addressed the audience directly, honestly, but without melodrama. "Life changes," she said softly. "Sometimes in ways you never expected. I love Mark, I always will. But we are learning who we are apart, and I ask for your grace while we do that." The audience erupted into applause, not out of excitement, but out of empathy. They saw the strength it took to dignify a painful moment without bitterness. Later that night, she met with friends who tried to comfort her, but Kelly was grappling with something deeper: confusion. Mark had always been passionate, but to disappear so dramatically after the divorce, what did it mean? Had something snapped? Or was this a man stepping toward a version of himself he had never allowed to exist? A growing mystery. As weeks passed, updates trickled out. Mark helped install irrigation lines for local farms. He joined volunteers distributing education supplies to remote schools. He ate meals with families in the community. He walked the dusty roads with a quiet ease that startled those who met him. And still, no cameras, no PR teams, no hidden agenda. People began to call him El Actor que Deje el Mundo, the actor who left the world behind. Meanwhile, television panels debated what had triggered this transformation. Some suggested he was having a breakdown. Others argued he was undergoing a spiritual awakening. But the truth belonged only to Mark, and he wasn't explaining it, not yet. The letter. 6 weeks after the divorce announcement, Kelly received a handwritten envelope with a Mexican stamp. Mark's handwriting was unmistakable. She opened it slowly, unsure whether she was ready. But when she read the letter, she realized this wasn't about blame, it was about revelation. In the pages, Mark revealed what he had never said out loud: that he had spent so many years succeeding, performing, achieving, and pleasing that he had forgotten what he looked like without lights and cameras pointed at him. That the divorce, though heartbreaking, had forced him to confront a truth: he had lost track of himself. That he needed distance, not to escape her, but to rediscover the man she had fallen in love with decades ago. That in Mexico, building homes and carrying bricks under raw sunlight, he felt real for the first time in years. Kelly read the final paragraph twice. "I didn't leave to run from us. I left to remember who I am. And one day, when I know that, I hope I can look you in the eyes again and thank you, not for our years together, but for the courage to end something that wasn't helping either of us grow." Tears slipped down her face, not of anger, but of comprehension. For the first time since the split, everything made sense. A world divided. When news of Mark's volunteer work spread globally, people reacted in wildly different ways. Some praised him. He's doing something real. He's rejecting the vanity of celebrity. He's showing what healing looks like. Others criticized him. He walked away from responsibility. He's running from pain. He abandoned his public commitments. But in Mexico, Mark was unaffected. He was learning to listen more than he spoke, to work without the reward of applause, to sit in silence without needing to fill it. For years, he had been a face on a screen. Now he was simply a pair of hands trying to help. The visit. 3 months into his self-imposed exile, Kelly quietly flew to Mexico, not to bring him home, not to demand answers, but because she needed to see him as he was now. When she arrived, she found Mark mixing cement with a group of teenagers. He looked up, eyes widening in disbelief, then walked toward her without a word. They embraced, not as a married couple, not as exes, but as two people who had walked through a fire and emerged changed. They spoke for hours beneath the shade of an old mesquite tree. He apologized, not for the divorce, but for not knowing himself sooner. She thanked him, not for leaving, but for not pretending everything was fine. When she left, she didn't ask him to return. She didn't demand anything. Instead, she smiled gently. "Find what you came here to find," she told him. "The world can wait." A new chapter. Mark eventually issued his first public statement, but not through a press conference. Not through social media. It arrived handwritten on simple paper, posted on the community center's bulletin board. He explained that he was staying in Mexico indefinitely, not running away, not hiding, rebuilding both walls and the internal foundations of his own life. He promised that one day he would return to acting in television, but when he did, it would be as a whole man, not a man trying to fill the quiet with applause. What shocked the world? The world had expected scandal, drama, betrayal, or another Hollywood meltdown. Instead, Mark Consuelos did something infinitely more shocking in a culture addicted to fame. He walked away from everything and chose to be human. And in doing so, he reminded everyone watching that sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is stop performing long enough to find their own reflection again.